Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. Well, by now, most of you guys know that I'm a huge fan of 67 to 72 GM trucks, but as I've said from the beginning, it's not always about the trucks, it's about the owners and the stories that come with them. And I've never disclosed why I'm so hot and heavy in these old C10s, and guess what? I'm not gonna tell you today either, but I did get an unexpected phone call last week that presented a very good opportunity for me, and it comes with a really cool story, so stick around so you guys can check it out. So earlier in the year, I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace like I shouldn't have been, and I came across a post this lady had, and it was a bunch of old antique cars, trucks, and parts just jammed in a tree row that looked like it had been there for decades. So I had seen a bunch of C10s and parts in there, so I reached out to her and said, hey, any chance I can rummage through your property on my way to Nickerson to go look at a four-wheel drive? And the gal was pretty reluctant to let some stranger come up there. So I told her, hey, this is who I am. I run this YouTube channel. I won't rob you or anything. So she gave me permission, gave me the address. So I went up there, checked out all the stuff. Actually, Garrett and I had kind of shot a video. It's this one here, an old-fashioned truck hunt. And she just had some really cool stuff. So I kind of gathered the things that I wanted, took pictures, sent it to her, and we made a deal on the pricing. I went and got her paid, and she kind of told me the story, what was going on. It was actually the family farm that her and her sister grew up on. They had sold the farm years ago, but they still owned the acreage out there. But their father had gotten sick, and they needed to get that land sold, and they had 30 days to clear all of his parts and cars off of there, and they really had no automotive experience whatsoever. So I said, hey, I'm pretty knowledgeable in these old trucks and antiques and stuff like that. If you guys need any help, just let me know. I'll help you price or list or whatever you need. And they took me up on it. We had corresponded quite a bit, just letting them know what stuff was, how I would price it, how to list it, paperwork, all that jazz. So we kind of became friends, and those sisters did a great job. They actually went through and sold close to 20 vehicles, 8 to 10 chassis, just tons of stuff. And they did really good. And I felt pretty good out of the story. I hope somebody would do that for my wife and girls if something happened to me one day, because it's just the hot rod community there. So for the last several months, we've still been in communication. They had to go through and clear their dad's house out too. And she invited me over and said, hey, the attic's full of truck parts. Do you want to come check these out? So I shot over to his house and climbed up there, and it was packed with everything. So I made a package deal on a few parts that I wanted, and I said, hey, it's so dangerous up there. If you guys, when you get ready to clear this attic out, call me and I'll come and get all this junk down for you. And they did, so I brought one of my other truck buddies over, and we spent a morning over there cleaning stuff out. And I felt pretty good at the end of that. It's just helping folks out is what it's all about. Now at the end of that, she told me that her dad did have one last truck, and it was going to auction because it was a pretty nice driver that he had built years back. Their auctioneer was going to be working on it and getting some odds and ends done on the truck, and it was going to be listed there. Well, about 8 months passed by, and she called me and said, hey, I guess there's some type of paperwork issues. This auction guy doesn't want to list it, so I've got to bring it back home. And I said, hey, I'll help you go through. Once you get it home, I'll make up a description for you. We'll look at, either doing another auction, put it on Marketplace, or even bring a trailer, stuff like that. So she called me last week and said, hey, the truck's coming home. Would you mind coming out and taking a look at it? And I said, absolutely. So what she's got is well, actually, instead of me just telling you about it, why don't we pack up and we'll head up to her property and I'll show you this old truck. Alrighty folks, so what it is, it's a 1972 GMC Sierra Grande, which I know is a little confusing because it sure looks like a C10, and that was the paperwork problem that the gals and the auctioneer were having. When he got ready to go through and list it, he had found out by the title, it's a 1972 GMC. About 20 years ago, the girl's dad, he bought this truck to go through and restore it, and he liked the Chevy so much more than he did the GMC, he converted the Sierra Grande truck into being a 1972 Cheyenne Super. Now, the Sierra Grandes and the Cheyenne Supers were the same package, just one being GMC and one being Chevy. So I thought, man, what a great opportunity to go through and tell you guys what it would take to convert a GMC into being a Chevrolet. So years back when the girl's dad bought this truck to restore it, this would have been the perfect time to go through and clone a GMC into a Chevrolet because he was going to have to buy so many parts. Now this truck began its life as a long bed and their dad had it cut down into a short bed, so it is a leaf spring truck still. You could have got coils on the GMC, but that would have been something someone would have had to order. Now, there are so many different things and so many similarities between a Sierra Grande on the GMC side and a Cheyenne Super on the Chevrolet, so I'm going to walk you guys around some of the higher end options that they both would have shared and then show you all the differences that you would have to make to clone this from the Sierra Grande into a Cheyenne Super. And I tell you, it's a lot, and we'll answer the question of, is it worth doing that as well? So some of the similarities we'd see between the Chevy and the GMC would have been the upper and lower trim, but you'll notice on this one, it's got the wood grain lower trim, which would have been the Cheyenne Super or Sierra Grande option. It's badged with the Cheyenne Super on the back of the fenders instead of GMC. They both would have had the chrome wing windows, the stainless going around the front windshield, also around the back glass, and it would have also had the cargo light on the top roof, rear of the cab itself. Now when we look at the interior of the truck, you can tell this is a true 1972 truck, and I know you've seen me or heard me talk about this several times, but this is the year-specific 72 door because it's got the support screw and the plastic door panels. Now since this is a Cheyenne Super, the top of the line, it does have the wood grain inlays with the stainless trim going around that. You'll also notice it has the Cheyenne Super factory tack cluster with the wood grain and the stainless or chrome around the emergency brake, brake pedal, and gas pedal. Now this truck was a factory AC. It also had the headliner, full foam seats, but you'll see here, it's also got the Cheyenne Super badging with the wood grain on the glove box. So this is not the original glove box door. It's robbed from a true Cheyenne Super in medium blue, which is pretty cool that he found that. Now if we look at the back of the truck too, it is a Chevrolet tailgate with the wood grain Chevrolet banding on the back to match the rest of the Cheyenne package, along with the upper and lower trim and the taillight bezels. So they did a really, really good job of making this true. I mean, it is a true upper package truck, but you move to the front of this truck and then we see a bunch of differences. So now we've talked about the similarities between the two trucks. Let's talk about the differences or the parts that her dad would have had to buy to clone this into being a Cheyenne Super. Now, first off, you're going to look at the hood. The hoods were the same 69 to 72 on both models of truck, except for a GMC. Would have said GMC across the leading edge, and this one does not. The front fenders are also different. A 1968 Chevy fender is the same as a 68 to 72 GMC because they have a recession in the front, where 69 to 72 Chevrolets don't. It actually sticks out, so he had to buy new fenders as well. Now obviously the grille is different. A GMC had 4 headlights and Chevy's only had 2, so that would require a 69 to 72 core support for a Chevy to make this work. He would have had to change the grille support, the hood pop on this. It also has the 7172 anodized aluminum outer grille with the bow tie, and then you'll notice the front bumper. 7172 put the turn signals down low on the Chevrolets, so he had to replace the bumper and the bumper brackets as well. Then on the side of the fenders, obviously the badging is Cheyenne Super on the side instead of being Sierra for the GMC. Now we'll move to the inside of the truck and there's all sorts of differences there as well, but it's adding up quite quickly. So some of the big telltale signs on the interior, first off, would be the VIN plate. This one obviously says GMC versus Chevrolet. In 72, there was actually 13 characters to the VIN. Chevys would have started with a CC for a 2-wheel drive, and a GMC would have started with a TC. Now the steering wheel obviously would have said Chevrolet or GMC. This is a newer version steering wheel for a GMC, so this is not period correct. The SPID would have been different on the glove box, and the glove box door says Cheyenne Super versus Sierra Grande there too. Another 72 thing was the rear view mirror. It was glued to the windshield where all the rest came out of the roof. So another sign would have been the difference of the wheel covers or the dog dish caps. This is newer wheels and it's got the Chevy bow ties, but you would have had GMC dog dish caps or the full wheel cover saying Chevy or GMC. Other differences would obviously be the tailgate. They are embossed, which would either say Chevrolet or GMC. This is a true Chevy tailgate, and they added this wood grain Chevrolet tailgate banding. You could have also got that in wood grain GMC as well. This one doesn't say Sierra Grande here on the back. It's a Chevrolet now. So a lot of differences, a lot of similarities, but is it worth it? That's the next question. So now we've seen a lot of the similarities and a lot of the differences, and the big question is it worth going through and cloning a GMC into a Chevrolet or vice versa? And I gotta tell you, I don't know that it is, because if you're a true Chevy guy and you want this Chevy Cheyenne Super, and then you find out that it's a GMC, I truly think the value depreciates pretty quickly on that end of it there. And that's kind of some of the reason why the girl's auctioneer, he didn't want to, it's not what it appears to be, so he was kind of wanting to step away, and that's why they wanted me to come in and try to help him get a description and figure out how to get this thing sold for him. It's hard for value-wise. I think it does depreciate it being a true GMC. It is a leaf spring truck compared to a Chevy, but Chevys could have been a leaf spring too. It's a cut down. Anymore, I don't think that really matters. Everybody's cutting long beds down because short beds are just so stupid expensive to even start with something versus just cutting one down there. So it is an awesome truck. It's worth what it is to whoever wants it, I would say, on there. So I went through and started writing a description down. That way they can get it onto Marketplace or bring a trailer, whatever they want to do with it there. And it's got a lot of cool things going for it. Again, it's got a aftermarket cruise control on it. It's got problems, you know. It's leaking fuel right now. The fuel filter's leaking. It's got scratches and dents on it here and there. You know, it's an older restoration. And the girl's dad, they drove this truck, which I think is awesome. It adds a lot of character to the trucks itself when people are actually using them. And you know, it needs some needs a little bit of love. But man, what a great start for somebody to have a cool old truck. So in the end, what is this truck worth? Yeah, I don't know, you know. Being a clone truck, that doesn't bother me at all, you know. I buy trucks to love them. I never buy anything for a big investment, you know, to make a bunch of money on. The auctioneer had an idea what it was worth, he thought, and then he found out it was the GMC, so it kind of depreciated. And I told the girls, you know, it's worth whatever it's worth to somebody else. It doesn't matter. It's just what somebody would want, and I think it is super cool truck. So I don't know, I gave them a price range of what I thought they could get out of it. You know, I said, here's all the pros for the truck, here's the cons. This is how you would do test drives, you know, don't let anybody drive it. You know, you guys have it insured, not anybody else. It's just kind of a mess to sell stuff online anymore. So they said, well, what would you give for it? And I was like, well, I kind of set that number, and they said, no, if you were to offer us money, what would you give us for it? And I was like, didn't kind of see that one coming, but they said I'd helped them out so much over this last year. They kind of wanted me to have it, and I'm like, it's super cool. I love the story. I love getting to know the ladies and all that. It's a lot of money, you know. It's a nice truck, so I said, hey, this is what I could do. It's all the money in the world I have in my truck budget. I could tell they obviously were hoping for more money. I said, hey, you do what's best for you guys. I'm not here to rip you off. I ain't gonna sell the truck or anything, but you do what's best for you. So they said they'd talk about it, and the next day they gave me a holler and said, you can have it. So I'm not here just to talk about this truck and all the differences. I'm here to bring it home, you know. I just joked around with having 5 C10s in 2025, and then we bought number 6, and somehow I miraculously showed willpower and passed on truck number 7, but guess we're not done. We're going from 6 to lucky number 7.
6, 7.
And so I'm gonna give you a full walk around of this truck now and show you all the cool stuff about it and things we need to do. And I'm loading it up on my trailer and taking it home, and it's only 5 miles away, so how cool is this? Alrighty, so like I said, this truck is, it's well loved. I mean, it looks really good. It does have chips and scratches and dings on it, but like I said, their dad drove this thing, so it's not one that I'd be scared to take to Home Depot. But things I don't like, obviously, are the 88 to 98 OBS wheels that are on here. Need to change this to a deluxe side marker light. I hate the running boards, so those will have to go. You know, just a lot of paint chips and corrections. Get rid of the mud flaps back there, but the bed is super clean. I looked under the mat, and we'll get that out of there so we don't have rust issues too. I'll probably remove the hitch and all that. It's just, I'm not gonna be towing with this. I can promise you guys that one there. And then, so we move to the interior. It needs new carpet. This is a very, very nice recovery did on the seats. We're gonna have to talk to our friends at Precision, see if they can help us out with a weather strip package, because this is shot, just needs cleaned up really well. It is a kind of a wiring nightmare under here, so I'm gonna have to address some of these issues so I don't, you know, burn it to the ground. But it's just a really cool truck. I gotta get a steering wheel too, obviously. But under the hood, I haven't showed you guys this, but it is a factory 350. I ran the numbers off the pad earlier, but it is, like I said, an AC truck. All the stuff's here for it. Cool thing is it's already got a 700 R4 in here, so I got me an overdrive, and it's a single piece drive shaft already too. But it just needs a cleaning, you know. Am I gonna win any awards at a car show? Nope. Am I finally gonna have a C10 that runs? Yep, but then I'll probably screw with it where it doesn't run, because that's what I do. I gotta quit doing that. Alrighty folks, so I am now the proud owner of this 1972 Chevy Cheyenne Super GMC Sierra Grande conversion clone thingamabopper, whatever we want to call it. But I am super stoked. You know, this is the nicest truck that I've had in a couple decades by far. But now, what do we do with it? You know, I know most people would say, just drive the truck, leave it as it is. But I can't do that. I got to put the Chad touches on it. So wheels and tires, hate them. Those got to go. Do we lower it a little bit? You know, do we tint the windows? Got to put new carpet in there and clean up some of this wiring, you know, under the hood. Probably got to do something there. Just go through it, check out all the mechanicals for sure on there. But I'm pretty interested to see what you guys think. Number one, clone trucks. Does it depreciate the value? Would you guys buy one? Would you clone one? I know a lot of people do it even between 67.8, 69.70, 71.72. That's also a clone. Does that hurt the value of these trucks? But this is pretty cool. So actually to have one that drives in 2025 is a pretty cool deal too. So if you guys haven't, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you're following along, because we are definitely not done with this truck, and Kiddo's got to come up with a name for this blue beast. It's not green, guys. It's amazing. Everything I buy is green except for this medium blue beauty. So, well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. And thanks to the sisters for letting me buy it.